Welcome back to The Short Coat, coming to you from the amazing and intense world of medical school at the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I'm Dave Etler, and wouldn't you know it, summer's over. Here to talk about what they did this summer are my friends, old and new, M2's all. Say hello to Cara Arrasmith.
Hi.
Tyler Pollock. Tyler Pollock is back.
Hi.
She's new here, so give her a break. It's Anjali Puranam.
Hi.
Did I say it right? No, I didn't.
It was close.
So how should I say it?
Anjali Puranam.
Puranam.
Yeah.
You're going to learn that, and I intend no disrespect, but you're going to learn that I am terrible at remembering how to pronounce names. It's a bad thing. Also new to the show is Sophia Nopoulos.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining us, you guys. Until med school, summer is all, fun and games. Maybe a part-time job. Maybe you just sat around on your lazy ass for weeks and watched PewDiePie. No judgment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge you. But now things have changed, right, Cara?
I thought we'd just go around, kind of give a little quick recap and description of what we all did this summer. So I can go first. I did the SRF, which is Summer Research Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was in orthopedics and sports med. Go women in ortho.
Yes.
So basically, last fall, I started by looking for a mentor, found one. We worked together to develop a project, write an abstract, which I submitted, I believe February is when abstracts were due. And then we got funding. You could choose a 12-week or a 10-week program. So I did the 12. And then as soon as our classes ended on a Friday, and then that Monday, I started doing research. So mine was kind of a mix. Now that we have the new North Liberty location, I was up there Tuesday through Thursdays, and then I could work remote Friday, Mondays. But yeah, it was very fun. I actually ended up doing 2 projects because my first one got done pretty early. So learned a lot and made some great connections.
I want to know about your project.
Okay. I would love to talk about it.
So glad you asked.
Yes. So I was working with, it's called the Moon Shoulder Instability Group. It's there's 11 centers across the U.S. housed at the University of Iowa. Let's go. So I was mainly looking at the ladder J surgery, which is a type of instability shoulder surgery where it's so wild. They take off part of the coracoid, flip it around, and attach it to the anterior glenoid to create a more stable surface for people who have had
recurrent
dislocations or instability. So it was a prospective cohort, but it's been going long enough that we had almost about 82% 2-year follow-up. So I was looking at this specific
Okay,
J
now I need you to
patients.
explain a few things for me.
Yes.
The dumb one. No, I need you to explain a few things for me, the person who has less medical knowledge.
That's better.
It sounds like you rearranged some bits in there. You took the bits that were in there and not you personally, but they rearranged the bits in there, sort of turn them around backwards and make them work the way that they weren't intended to work.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yes. Basically, because you have your glenoid, your this is the shoulder socket.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your glenoid and then your humerus sits in it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the patients, one of the big risk factors is being a contact athlete and being a young male because they typically are in more contact sports.
I know about that.
So
Never was.
I'll use that as our frame of reference. This can happen a lot of different ways, but
Sure.
say if you sustain injury, you're powerlifting and you do an overhead jerk and you can dislocate any type of massive force that pops your humerus out. It goes like this and it can bust off part of your glenoid, and
sure.
then you get a impression fracture on the posterior humerus. So even when they put it back in, you're missing your glenoid and your humerus is like this. So it's way easier to pop out.
I see.
So what they do is they take this other bone sticking off the scapula, same bone, but little process.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut it off, flip it, and then they'll attach it to the glenoid. So it kind of restores that shape.
Clever
So
little
it's harder.
bastards.
Yeah.
They're
Ortho
crazy.
people.
Mr.
Impressed
Ladder J
medical
was an
people,
amazing,
look at that.
amazing man.
That's a name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was a
crazy.
description.
Me too.
A ladder
Me too.
J.
No, because it's spelled, I think it's Latarjet.
Oh.
I think he was
That's crazy.
I don't know if he was French or what. But yeah, so that was my work. It was really fun. We got together last night. I think there was 5. We had a bunch of students in our class in ortho, but sports med specific, there's about 5 of us. So we got together last night, and a few of the surgeons were able to make it, and we gave our presentations. Because I should have prefaced this. Part of the SRF, you do your project, and then there's a medical student research conference. That will be, I think for us, it's like September 17th, 18th. And so you like have to present what you did this summer in your work. So I will be giving an oral presentation.
Oh,
which is super fun.
not
So
just
yes.
a poster, but an oral presentation.
Mm-hmm. So it was good. And I was able to submit some abstracts to
How do they
2
select-
conferences.
How do they select the oral presenters? Are they like this?
This year is
person's
just
super
first
cool.
come, first serve.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
have
my
to, like,
project is super
electively sign
cool.
up to do. You get to choose whether you want to do an oral or a poster.
Mhm.
I feel like most people choose the poster in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just easier.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't-
only
I don't
ever
know.
done posters like in
Yeah.
undergrad, so I thought an oral presentation might be cool.
It'll be fun.
It will be fun.
I
I'm
would
excited.
love to be in the audience.
It's in our calendar. We have protected
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I
for
think
it.
you guys all
September?
get to go.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you said you did a second project. You got to do a
Yes.
second one.
So I was looking at the first one, it was that same cohort, and basically there's a different way to measure the glenoid to kind of see if they're like you can be on track or off track. So we were looking at that in relation to outcomes. And then second project was same exact cohort, but in order to get to that glenoid, you have to open the subscapularis tendon that goes over it. So there's 2 methods that you can do it. You can either do like a partial L-shaped tenotomy, or you can split it in the middle. So we were looking at patients who had either, and then comparing that to their 2-year outcomes.
And so, what did you find, or do you not want to? Should we leave it?
Leave it for the
Spoilers.
conversation.
Right.
I was
Ooh.
able to submit that abstract to 2 conferences that are happening next year.
That's exciting.
So I'm able to present it's kind of funny because those were the more interesting results than my initial project that I submitted for SRF.
I guess that happens, you know.
Mhm.
What
like-
can you do?
I know. It'd
You're
be
so
like that.
badass, Cara.
Girl.
Wow.
So ortho girl energy.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want me to flex now or
Yeah,
later?
please. I would love it now.
All the time, actually.
Yes.
All right.
So I did MECO, medical education and community orientation, I guess.
Sure. Let's say.
And basically I did a 4-week program. You apply in March and you can sign up and list like your top 6 choices for sites that you get kind of placed at. It's kind of like they try and give you your first come or top 3 at least. So, but they said, please don't put any site that you don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
at. And they gave you a list of all the sites, kind of the stipends if they offer any housing if they offer any. And so I just listed 3. I honestly don't remember the 3. I just know Davenport was my top choice.
Can I ask, is it all rural cities in Iowa or?
No, not necessarily. I would say Davenport was not rural at all.
Yeah.
I know there's some in Dubuque, but then there are more rural areas. I would say like Waverly is pretty rural. Fairfield
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Very.
is pretty
Sure,
rural.
yeah.
And then I know there's stuff like clear on the other side of the state too, like near Sioux City and like Council Bluffs and stuff. So it really is kind of where you want to go. And then we heard like a month later, and I would say most people, if not all, got their top choice of where they want to go. I was one of 4 students from here at Mercy One Genesis, and it was really cool. I mean, you got to list all the specialties you wanted to see, and they organized like clinicians that you can follow, whether it's even like associated with the hospital, or sometimes like I went to a pediatric office that was offsite, not like a private office. And the best part is that you got a meal plan, $20 a day that you could use at Starbucks. And so
Okay.
yeah, I was very familiar with the barista there.
Nice.
What did kind of like a day in your life look like during that?
Yeah, it was pretty much 8 to 5. Some days, like surgery days, you had to get there a little earlier. During our first day, it was just orientation. And so they taught us how to scrub in. They took us around the hospital. They took us out to eat and kind of showed us everything. So by the time you got into like your surgery days, you should theoretically know how to scrub in and everything. But the physicians were so kind, and so were the nurses. Everyone was just like, we don't really get a chance to teach students all that often. And so when they get the opportunity, they're really excited to do it.
Yeah, I get the feeling that community hospitals have a different vibe. I mean, I think most people are kind, but community hospitals, it's just a different sort of atmosphere. Little, I don't know. How would you, do you have anything to compare it to yet?
Yeah, I would say people know everyone at the community hospitals, like even in different specialties. Like here, when you walk through our hospitals here, it's like everyone knows each other in like specific niche specialty areas, but they don't necessarily know other physicians unless they're friends outside of work. But a lot of people know each other within the community hospital, even across specialties, and they introduce you to people that they've seen and they've met. I am short, and so I got, I didn't know.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I'm sitting, so it helps.
Oh, okay.
But I got, I didn't know they let 12-year-olds into medical school.
Nice.
Girl.
No.
It was nice. I was like, yeah, me either. I'm not 12.
What? That's news. That's crazy.
But I mean, I went along with it. It was fun. They were really kind. And I got to see so many different specialties, like from anesthesiology to vascular surgery
Ooh.
to radiology. Like it was, and you got to like assist in different procedures.
Oh, cool.
I was just gonna
So
ask
it's not
that.
just shadowing.
It's not just shadowing. It really is, though, the physician and what they are willing to
Okay.
let you experience. Because some physicians, they want you to observe more, and others want you to be able to practice the skills that you have been taught, or to teach you skills that you haven't been exposed to yet. And so I was able to, when I was with the pediatrician, I was able to practice like physical exam skills, but we would do it at the same time. So like he would listen to the heart sound here and then move here, and then I'd put my stethoscope here, and we'd just kind of alternate
Oh, I see. Yeah.
positions,
That's
and
cute.
we'd kind of do it together, which was really nice because then we could talk about things we saw or heard. I was with the cardiologist once, and he had me listen to see if I could hear a murmur. And
Did you?
I there was not one.
Was
And-
it a trick question? What?
It was a trick question. Oh no. He
And
pimped you?
a little bit, but I said there are no obvious signs of a murmur. I edged it, and it was right. I mean, but,
You edged
it. You never know. And then, like during surgeries, like you could hold like the medical tools, and it was really a different experience, a different environment. It was freezing. I was
Yeah.
cold all the
They
time.
usually are. That's what I hear.
All the time, but yeah, it was fun. Some procedures I got to see was an endarterectomy, so a femoral one. So you you isolate the femoral artery, and you kind of have to tie it off so blood flow kind of stops, and then you open it and you remove the plaque buildup in there,
Oh.
Ooh.
and then you sew it back up.
You like suck it
And
out? How do
you
you
like
remo-
scrape it. It's like kind of really
Ooh.
stuck in there, and so you scrape it out. And that was a really cool experience because I've never seen anything or heard anything like that. I didn't really know what vascular surgeons did before that. And we also did like a AAA stent, abdominal aorta aneurysm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I was also with a plastic surgeon, which was interesting. And so we did some breast implants, fat grafts,
Nose job.
not a nose job, removal of a suspicious lesion
Oh.
to send to pathology to see if the margins were clean. and the cancer was all removed. And then I was with anesthesiology, so through that we were able to see like general surgery and urologists do some surgeries, and
You said this was only 4 weeks?
this was 4 weeks.
I was
Damn.
a lot.
Crazy.
This sounds crazy.
You got a crash course through.
Yeah, you
clinical
did.
year.
It was a lot, but it was also really fun at the same time.
Sure.
Mhm.
Some days were shorter, so like the radiologists, they were like, please leave at as early as you want. Like, it's not necessarily fun watching us read scans all day.
Mhm.
But they did a great job of like talking through the scans that they did have, and they're like, everyone was like, we want you to enjoy your summer. So
Super cool.
as they're getting closer to 5, they're like, you can go whenever you want to. I stayed because it was interesting, but it was very much a kind of what you wanted, you got out of the experience.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And to clarify, they gave you a stipend to live in Davenport and do that rotation, or?
There was a stipend that you got,
Mhm.
but through this location, housing wasn't provided. So
Oh,
I
okay.
stayed with my aunt and uncle who lived in Bettendorf.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say like the 3 other students did too. They stayed with family out there.
Nice.
Were there
Mhm.
pretty good options, like for people that are from Iowa, that like they would have an option close to wherever that would be, like throughout the state? You know, like there are options for basically anywhere in the state of Iowa where you could be like within a reasonable commute to where like you're from.
Yeah, I would say that. I don't know if it's the same sites that kind of want to participate in the
Mhm,
program every
mhm.
year, but I mean, even where my parents' house is and near Cedar Rapids, there was a site that was like 45 minutes north that could have easily been a commutable distance.
How cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I did the global health elective. So that was a summer across seas, and I think there were a decent amount of global health students. I'm actually not in the global health program, but that went all over. So India, I think some in Africa, but I chose Ecuador mainly because of the Spanish program that offers. So it was you get to choose your weeks. I did 8 weeks, so 2 months. It was actually the longest. I was the first person in the program to show up and the last person to leave, but it was awesome. So got to live with the host family, and one of my favorite parts was they cook for you 3 meals a day. So I had some awesome breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm so jealous. You know, they kind of off topic, but they eat guinea pigs there. It's very common, and I never tried it, but now I'm like, now that I'm gone, I'm very curious. I should have tried it.
What?
I know but it's very
I'll
common.
have to find one for you.
Yeah, well,
What?
Who said that?
Yeah, who said
What?
that?
Must have
You
been the
I have
wind.
one here.
I had a pet guinea pig growing up, and so I was like, oh no, but I think I'd get over that.
Did you
now.
say that?
Immediate
Like
regret.
Yeah, I'd try it now. But anyway, that's completely off topic. So yeah, I was in Ecuador. I was in Riobamba, which is about 10,000 feet elevation. So I was just telling Cara, I didn't get a nice summer weather because it was like 55 degrees there every day. But I liked it. It was beautiful when the sun was out. It was warm. But the program itself, so the first half of the day, you're in clinical. So kind of like Anjali, I was doing a pre-clinicals, which was or clinical rotation almost. So it was nice to get experience in that. And you can choose whatever specialty you're interested in. The program was really flexible. I started out in internal medicine because you kind of just see everything in there. And then I slowly realized that's a lot of gastroenteritis and pneumonia and bronchitis and all that stuff is interesting, of course. I'm glad I got to see it. It was good medicine to learn. But I kind of hitched it out of internal med and tried to explore some other areas. So I did emergency med, I did psychiatry, followed around some psychologists for a while too that worked really closely with the psychiatry team. And I'm kind of biased. I really do like psych, so I really enjoyed that. But that's the first half of the day. And then in the second half of the day of the program, you do 2.5 hours of Spanish class every day. And it's medical Spanish curriculum. So it's you're learning the basics of grammar and conjugations in addition to vocabulary. And you have nice one-on-one sessions with your teacher to talk, kind of role play of a doctor and a patient interaction in Spanish, and basically how best to use Spanish and use the culture of not only Latinx, but also indigenous. There's a big indigenous population in Ecuador that we served in Cacha. And so it was really interesting. They actually didn't speak Spanish. And so that was a obstacle that I came up. They speak Quechua, which is very, very different than Spanish. And so I was in both the hospital and also in Cacha, which is kind of further up in the mountains, serving the indigenous population. So it was.
So do the providers speak Kacha, or
they do? So
Yeah.
they speak. Yeah, they
or
speak.
do they have translators? I was wondering.
You know, it was one thing I found interesting is that their translating system was nowhere near as robust as it is here, and it seemed to be a big obstacle, especially in the more rural indigenous communities, that there'd be a doctor there, but they wouldn't speak Quechua.
Mhm.
And so whether it be, Google Translate, or typically it'd be family members that would come or distant family members, or a
Sure.
community member that spoke Spanish that was able to translate. I think it's, the healthcare system, I could go on and talk how different that is. But one of the things is for medical students, they are required to do a year in the community, specifically like the rural communities. So it'd be like, they're in their last year of their medical school program or their residency, and they're in Cacha or other rural areas. So they're relatively young. They're not yet doctors, but they don't speak Quechua. So that was a lot of the ones doctors that I had followed. Kind of as a contrast to Anjali, most of my time was shadowing. Most of it was trying to figure out what the heck everybody was saying, because it's completely in a different language. I
That's
took
stressful.
Spanish. Yeah, it was stressful, but it was kind of nice knowing that I had no responsibility except for being a fly on the wall, and I wasn't being pimped necessarily. But there was, after I think 3 weeks, I finally had the courage to ask the doctor questions about what was going on, not only the courage, but the Spanish ability to
The
be
language,
like, oh,
right.
okay, yeah, I know what's going on here.
Did your doctors speak, the people that you shadowed, did they speak any English, or was it
No.
all in Spanish?
All in Spanish.
Except
And my
for, like,
host
your
family
host
didn't speak any English too. So that was kind of
all Spanish all the time.
it was all Spanish all the time. And I will say I had
You're a brave. I feel like
Yeah.
you're a brave person. People who
Thank
do
you,
this.
yeah.
Mhm.
It
for
was
2 months.
for
like,
2 months.
Did
Yeah.
you start dreaming in Spanish?
I did.
You
only,
did?
only of like the last couple weeks.
Huh. Interesting.
I will say I'm brave, but I'm mostly brave because I went with, shout out to Megan Perry, our class president, and Jackson Snyder. But those other 2 medical students, they went with me, and I actually roomed with Megan, and she had a previous global health experience in Costa Rica. And so I think her Spanish was a little bit more prepared than mine. And so starting out, it was great having her kind of as a buffer when I didn't understand, how to communicate with the host family. But Jackson was only there for 4 weeks, and Megan was only there for 6. So I had the last 2 weeks by myself, but it was good. I had
But
the
by
first.
then you had a little bit of
Yes.
something to
It
work
was
with.
fun. I started dreaming in Spanish, and actually meet some other students in the program.
Did you guys rotate together when you were in the hospital, or were
Yeah.
you guys on separate rotations the whole time?
It really depends on what you want to do. So starting out, I was with another student that wasn't from Iowa. They're from New York. But a lot of the students in this program, they come all over from the U.S., and they're typically in like the same age range. So all the students I was with were also incoming M2s. So I worked with a couple others, but it was only like 1 or 2 per doctor. By the 3rd week, I was by myself in internal medicine, and then I decided that I wanted to go to psych, and nobody else wanted to do that. I don't know why. So it was just me, but. And interesting, the classes too, the Spanish classes, it was like typically 1-on-1 or 2 students and 1 professor. So it was great. I got great like oral practice with Spanish. So I think that helped a lot. If it was a big classroom, it'd be really difficult to learn more.
Where were you taking Spanish classes through? Was it like through a local?
Yeah, so the program it's called CACHAMSI. It's CACHA, which is the Indigenous Community Medical Spanish Institute. CACHAMSI for short. I just also found this out not too long ago when I was looking at this program. I just thought, CACHAMSI was it's a fun name. But so they have an office downtown Riobamba, and it's close to the hospital. So after the hospital, you would go home for lunch and then go to this office and chat with. I was in the class with Megan, so I mean there were still English spoken, but our professor mostly spoke only Spanish. It was great. It was a nice little office they had.
Over the summer, I did what's called IMEI, which is Intro to Medical Education at Iowa. I was one of the teaching assistants, so there were 3 of us teaching assistants. We applied probably around the same time, around like February last year, for this position. I think there were like 6 or 8 applicants out of our class that applied. And so what we did is for 6 weeks over the summer, we TA'd for the IMEI program. So the class is up to 18 incoming M1s. We had 15 in our class because it wasn't entirely full, but a good amount of students. And so we basically run a mock med school, essentially. So each of us gave 5 lectures in total for mostly anatomy, but a little bit of foundations. And in addition to like the lectures that we give, we have a lot of, we don't make the schedule. Carrie schedules everything for us, but
Love
we'll
Carrie.
bring in,
Carrie Burnett
Shout
is
out.
in charge of the curriculum folks here at the university and at the College of Medicine, and she's also first year,
she does the first semester.
first semester curriculum coordinator. So
she's the queen of all.
yeah.
She makes
Mhm.
things happen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
she kicks ass and takes names.
She
So
does.
she worked with the same people that give the lectures like officially in the fall and coordinated them coming in to give a selection of their lectures for IMEI. So between the anatomy lectures that we gave and then those like foundations and MOHD1 lectures, we had a good selection of the content that they go through. So we would, during the day, like give our lectures, facilitate, and just kind of be there for the other lectures. We wrote exam questions for all of that content and put them together. So over the course of the 6 weeks, they had 4 written exams and then 1 anatomy lab practical.
Putting them through it.
Yeah.
Putting them through it.
It's like it really is like a mini first semester.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to simulate it kind of as closely as possible for everything.
And the people who do IMEI, the students who sign who
Yes.
come into the program, why do they do that?
So it's targeted especially for people that have like had taken a lot of gap years and have had like a lot of time away from like a formal education setting, or people that may have not had like a science background in undergrad. So like you obviously have to take all of the same prerequisite classes and like take the MCAT or whatever to get into medical school. But if someone doesn't have like a very strong biology background, we cover a lot of foundations for like the metabolism content and like cell biology, and then like a little bit background on like human physiology. So it's kind of for people that are more anxious about those realms of our curriculum that want a little bit of practice before they come in, because their performance on the exams isn't reflected on like their grades at all. So
Yeah, it's like it's not graded really.
yes, like we give them grades and evaluations for the point of feedback,
Right.
but they are not like the college doesn't know about how they do in IMEI. Essentially, it's just kind of shared with us and then with Carrie. So then if like any concerns come up, the family can, or not the family, sorry, the students can like,
Oh, okay, the family's involved.
there was a family tour that was going on and I saw Dr. Cooper and that's what jumped into my head through this window. But like the students can address their concerns with Carrie kind of before the semester starts.
Love that.
But yeah, so we gave lectures. We also did we used a couple of the cadavers from the dental students. They do anatomy lab in the spring. So we used a couple of those cadavers and did anatomy labs. So the students weren't actually dissecting, but we had the pre-dissected cadavers and we had volunteers come in to facilitate the anatomy labs. And they would have practice with like identifying structures, and so they could see the spatial relationships within the cadavers. And then they did a case-based learning case over the 6 weeks, very similar to what they do in the fall. So they went through a like patient case, very similar to what they'll do in the fall, where they like get more information week by week and they do learning issues. And then they did a one-on-one patient encounter. So kind of the same way that we do in the fall, they do
Or like a standardized patient.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool.
So they have the lecture, like the CAPS lecture of like how to take a patient interview and how to do like the history of present illness and like all of that information and like old carts and whatnot. And then as a group, they do the group simulated patient interview where it's like the 6 of them in the room and they take turns interviewing a simulated patient. And then the next week they did the actual one-on-one where they go up in the clinical suites and have they're recorded and they have to do the interview and take notes and write a clinical note. So they kind of we facilitated one cycle of like the PCS cycle.
Mhm.
Yeah, they get a great head start.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so it's like not even just like, oh, I've seen the brachial plexus before in anatomy, but they actually like get practice like talking to our real simulated patients and like
Yeah.
they get a little bit of everything that we
Yeah.
do the
Amazing.
first semester.
Mhm.
Did you do IMEI?
I did not do it as a student, no.
Were any of the TAs prior students of the
Yeah,
program?
one of them was so it was me and like 2 other students and one of them had done IMEI as a student, which was nice to get his perspective as like
Yeah.
how did they run it last year, because once we
I
started,
think you guys get to pretty much figure out like what you wanna do.
yeah, there was like we met a couple of times at the end of last semester with Carrie, and then we met with Dr. Pizzamenti, who runs like the anatomy program, because those two kind of direct the program. We met with them a little bit like last semester, but then once the summer started, we were just kind of like thrown into it, and it was like, okay, figure it out, do whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
it's a very student-led program, like in
Mhm.
its entirety.
Mm.
So that was nice.
Mhm.
Well, very cool. It sounds like you all had amazing summers.
Absolutely.
I was just here
Yeah.
doing my thing,
Holding
sh-
down the fort.
holding down the fort.
Yeah.
Someone's gotta.
Shortcoats, if you have something you want to say about today's show, something you want to hear about someday, a question you have, go to theshortcoat.com/tell us and send us a little message. I love hearing from you guys. Otherwise, that's our show. Until next time, I'm Dave Etler saying, don't let the bastards get you down.
Don't
Talk to you soon. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.